Hello, I'm the Drum. Welcome to Socially Challenged. Who are you then?
My name's Lisa Hale and I'm Head of Social at Specsavers, and I'm also on the jury for the Drum Awards for social media.
Thanks for joining us and for being part of the jury for the Drum Awards for social media. I'm going to ask you some questions about audience building. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Then let's begin. What is the main secret to building an audience on social media platforms?
So, in my opinion, it's really about carving out your purpose as a brand. So, what's your sort of point of difference? And obviously, these need to be based on your business objectives, and then translating that into something valuable and relatable to your audience. And this is really important when it comes to your always on social comms, which should always be social audience first and insight led. And it's what I call pull content. So content and behaviors which really pull your audiences into your brand and getting them to spend time with your brand. And doing this on a consistent basis will then make your sort of fame grabbers and big burst campaigns and performance activity a lot more impactful as well.
How do you decide which platforms to focus building audiences on?
So I think this is a really, really important question, because especially at the moment, in this day and age, with budgets sort of being cut left, right and centre, you need to be really efficient with how you're targeting. So I think it needs to start with looking at your business objectives and what role does social media play as part of delivering those business objectives. And then decide where your target audiences spend most of their time and speak to them on those platforms. So essentially, as an example, for us, Specsavers, a lot of our audience are very present and active on Facebook, so that's a key channel for us, but might not necessarily be for everybody. And just because it's a popular platform doesn't mean it's right for your brand. We're also keeping a much closer eye on platforms such as TikTok. We're seeing a lot of, obviously, audience demographics shifting onto that platform. Not something we saw 6 months ago. That age group is changing massively as a result of COVID as well. So yeah, it's really sort of understanding where your audiences are and where they're most active.
What would be your advice for a social media manager who suddenly faces audience backlash?
So it really depends on what the backlash is about first and foremost, and the seriousness of the issue. But what I would say is do not rush to respond, and sort of practice managing panic internally. If you panic, everyone else will panic, and most of the time everyone else is already panicking anyway. So you need to be the person, sort of that voice of reason, and really understand your audience and advise accordingly. But I think when brands manage it with a human approach, it can't go far wrong. And we've seen brands do that quite a lot recently, such as Yorkshire Tea. The only thing I would say about that is that came eventually from an individual's voice. And I think it's really strong if it stays from the brand's voice. But I do think that Yorkshire Tea did that to distance themselves from the politics of it all. But ultimately, stick to who you are as a brand. Otherwise, you might end up with a post office situation. I don't know if you saw I think it was Courtney who signed it off, but she was quite cutting. It was very clear it didn't come from the post office. So it's questionable what that actually does for the brand as a whole. Or you could end up with something like the civil service tweet, where they'll go completely rogue, or even Sainsbury's and Karen, which was hilarious this week. But actually, just to add to that, make sure you've built up a strong tone of voice as a brand on Twitter over a period of time, and that always puts you in a strong place when things do kick off.
What one thing really annoys you on social media?
Okay, what annoys me most about social media, and I'm thinking from an industry perspective here, but ownership of the platform is still debated and quite unclear within the marketing industry. So if you take like a performance only approach to social media, you're missing out on all the other aspects it can help deliver. Equally, if you think about it only from a big creative activation point of view, you're missing out on all the long-term sort of community building activity. So whoever heads up the social channels needs to really look at them holistically and understand what they can deliver across all areas of marketing.
Which social media campaign has impressed you most recently?
The social media campaign that's impressed me the most recently has to be Essity's Womb Stories. I've not actually seen the results of their recent campaign, but I've seen the results of the things such as, the campaigns they've done previously, like Blood Normal and Viva La Vulva, and it's just been incredible. So Womb Stories was like a 3-minute creative that used real insight to come up with relatable issues that women face. And it was executed brilliantly across PR and social media and online. And they issued the video as well with research findings that were really insightful. So I think as far as an integrated online campaign goes, I think they spat it out the park every time.
What are you hoping to see from the entries to the Social Media Awards?
I'm really hoping to read about some incredible creative executions that are insight-led, that particularly the ones that push the boundaries and do something innovative and that haven't been done before. I really like reading things where I think, oh my God, I wish I'd thought about that. So that's kind of what I'm looking out for.
It's been lovely talking to you today. Thank you for your answers and good luck judging the Drum Awards for social media.